Um, but I had some stuff come up, family-wise, and
Don't
happened.
don't worry about it. I've been working all weekend, so I've been able to play and get farther, or would be talking about farther stuff. So, but
If it
Aerith,
makes you feel better, my husband just now today got to do the first dungeon in the first panel. Just now,
I haven't got to the
five
first
minutes
primal yet.
ago.
I haven't got to the first primal. I just made it to the first dungeon. But
Love
Aerith,
it. It's
since you've
so.
been waiting to talk about this, I'm gonna give you the floor so you can talk about this for a little bit.
I can't because you it will ruin certain things.
Didn't happen.
Well, no, go ahead. You were biting your tongue last week. Just go ahead.
I, you guys that haven't gotten to that part yet.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Well, what were you gonna say yet last week about this whole situation? Maybe that's the better place to start.
I was going to say that I was. Oh my God, I'm trying to phrase this without giving anything away. I
Dag.
was,
Okay, how about
I
you do
was
this? You
very
explain it
happy.
to me in the way you would explain something to a kid that you don't want him to fully understand yet. All in euphemisms and metaphors.
Well, everyone will get their just desserts. The story was written perfectly for, I would say, fans of the Sultana. Um, and it was just it was very well played, and you get to see this cutscene later on. And I'm not going to go into any details about it. You'll know it when you see it. You're going to have a cutscene that is going to have Raban in it, and his return to Ulda. And when that happens, you are going to see exactly where everything lies right there.
Oh, I can't wait. Now I don't want to go to the gym tomorrow. I just want to sit and play the video game.
Okay, that's fair. And you were biting your tongue last week, and hopefully next week you don't have to bite your tongue as much because you seem that you want to talk about this, and unfortunately, we being so far behind you for various reasons, I was leveling
Just
up my
because I
astrologian,
am
and
I'm an Animo fan, a Sultana fan. She's so adorable. And I was so crushed. And when I got to this part in the story, it just made everything right.
I cried. I cried. I straight cried by when that happened. I
I
was literally sitting here in tears. My husband looks at me like he's a little further behind than I am, but he was home on R&R and he's over playing on the computer and I'm sitting on the couch and he looks over at me and I'm like and I'm crying. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, shut up, don't talk to me, you don't understand.
um I wasn't crying. I was relieved to know that she was alive, but like I said, I was kind of angry because I didn't like the retcon, and I understand why it was made, and I do love the fact that she is alive. Don't get me wrong there, but to me, it just seemed like a cop out. Like the fan backlash was so great that we decided at the last minute just to tweak it so she's alive, and it started retconning a lot of this other stuff that's happened. And to me, it's like, no, I do not want you to retcon this. Like, I love Nomino and everything, and I'm glad that she's alive. But all the other stuff that's happened around her, the the thing about the one person not really following the other person and was trying to sabotage him and stuff like that. I'm just like, no, this does not need to be here. Especially what we've seen at the end of 2.0. To me, it just seems like everything was retconned to give people alibis and to cover up miss some strong feelings from the community. Don't get me wrong, I love Nomino. I love the fact that she might still be alive, and from the way that people are speaking, she is alive. So
I don't think it was a cop out. And when you get to the very end of the story and you finish all of it, you're going to revisit your thoughts on this because
Okay.
remember you're dealing with SE, so you're dealing with their ways of doing stories where they want you to think something, they want you to feel a certain way, and you're falling into one of the categories of one of the ways they want you to feel at a certain part of a story. So by the time you get to the very end of it, you're like, it makes sense.
This is true. Like I said, I'm doing it as I'm going, and this is where I'm at in the story. I don't have the future knowledge here about what's going to happen in my, to my person in the future. You've already been there, and you can say, okay, this is what's going to happen in the story, but I can't. So right now, as it stands, I don't like the retcons. I love the fact that Nomina is alive. I'm glad Robin was able to be rescued, and I hate Sid's voice. That's where I'm at right now.
I'll tell
I kind of
you,
hate Sid's voice too.
I don't like Sid's voice. I my I'm upset at how it left the story before Heavensward picked up, and after going through the entire story now, and you're forewarned that you're still left on a cliffhanger with some things at the end of the storyline. Um, I don't like what happened to the Scions. If this was Nanamo's way to, shock and awe, someone lost an arm, you don't know who's alive, who's dead, you know, too many things happen based on that. Where if these people were there for you so strongly, you should have somebody should have kind of let them know a heads up.
Okay, I think we're going to cut you off there because I think you're going to get back into spoilery territory here.
Damn it!
I'm sorry. I know you want to talk about this and everything, but
I
I'm
want to talk about it too, but I can't.
but I am under the impression, and I'm going to continue to say this. I do think the Scions are dead. So, but I don't
I don't
know.
think they're all dead, but I don't know.
But we're going to continue on our little
I will
walkthrough through
say
the story.
nothing.
The next thing we do is, as soon as we find out that little information about Nomino, we can't even keep going with that line of thought because we get a link shell call and we're needed back in Ishgard because the Pope or whatever wants to see us.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we get another exposition dump here by him, and he's already been visited by the Asians, who have pledged to give him power. And as we see a little bit later, because, I'm not going to jump too far ahead here, but as, I think, there's the dragons are going to start attacking here shortly and everything, and you come up with this brilliant plan to talk to the dragons right out. Be like, listen, can you cancel your attack and everything? And it looks like he's gonna be playing the Asians. But we also got that reveal that the person he was talking to is an Asian himself. So we got the pretty much, I'm going to betray the Asians. The Asians know this is not going to, I foresee that Pope's not going to be there very much longer.
Yeah. I don't understand quite fully what's going on there yet, but I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I think that he's got something going on under the nose of everybody, but I'm not sure. What, babe? To drink?
Aerith, what's
Sorry,
your...
the mascot requires sustenance. I apologize.
That's
I
okay.
think I'm going to have to recuse myself from this part of the conversation.
Okay,
To
but
maybe just
when you were going through it, and this is just I just want the opinions here on what at this point in the story when you first learn this and everything. What did you think of the whole situation at that point?
I think he's
Um,
sneaky, and I don't trust sneaky. That's just my opinion. So
I
you,
didn't
you
trust
go
him.
there.
I didn't trust him. I was mad that somebody who's supposed to have their city state, in regards with everything they've been dealing with, would align themselves with something so bad when they were supposed to be so good. So I didn't trust him from the beginning.
Abominable, right? That's my thought. I'm like, God, how could you do that?
Okay, but then we learn of our little plan, and the Azure Dragoon like learns of it. And he's like, I want to fight these dragons too. And till you let him know that our plan is gonna. Alphanaut had the idea. Why don't we get Lady Iceheart into this and everything? And this is where we're going to be wrapping up here shortly because this is pretty much where I'm at in the story. So, um, you talk to the person that got you into Ishgard. You do not tell him the entire plan, but you go and um, you pretty much find her, and first you go to where Shiva. You beat Shiva, beat up some people there, and I thought it was cool that some of the people were able to transfer into dragons.
Oh, with the oh, what are they called? Help me out here, guys.
It's some of the Javinians. It's the heretics that she's like running with. When you go into Shiva's thing, a couple of them can transform like as you're attacking
Yeah,
to them, and they like after a couple of minutes after they're on the battlefield, they transform into a dragon, and I thought that was really cool.
yeah. I thought that was really cool too. And they talk about they're in Kurthus and they've existed way before the expansion even hit. I don't remember, but there's a dragon that partakes of they're humans that partake of dragon blood and they've turned into dragons. And I thought that was
Yeah, I love that too. And after a while, you know you put up the blue smoke to drive Lady Oushout to where you are, and she comes instead of her minions, which I thought was awesome. And she tells you this long tale about how she came to be. It's a nice long story, and I kind of felt bad. But the one thing that I got from that is one of our titles of our podcast was so fitting while I was listening to this. And that was the Hviskiar is so fetch. That was just an apt title. And after listening to that story, I'm like, yep, he's still fetch.
pretty much, yeah. I haven't gotten to meet him quite yet, but I'm almost there, and I'm so excited.
Haven't got to him yet either, but the way she was telling the story, I'm like, oh my god, you've been through a lot.
Oh, you don't even know, and I'm sure that Eric knows even more than I do. But what I know, you're gonna eat it up. It's amazing. It really has
And the
completely
last
worked.
part, that I did was I just got into the chocobo forest where the people hunt the poor chocobos, and yeah, that's
Does
where I
that not
stopped.
kill
So
you? Because that
Poor
kills me to
chocobos,
have
they
to kill
tried
a
to kill you.
chocobo. Kills me. Fair enough, but I'm just like, why do you have to make her not them aggro me? Can't you just leave me alone? I don't want to kill you.
but yep, that's where I ended up. The one thing I do want to ask is in Western Korthos, because that's where pretty much I was, and even in the Sea of Clouds, if we want to go up there a little bit. So far, who's your favorite NPC in the series?
Oh, oh,
Because mine, I
are
can
we
tell you,
talking Heaven's Word or
yeah, Heaven's Word.
overall? Oh,
Heaven's Word.
oh, the Count. The
Um,
Count. I
I
love the
will tell
Count.
you, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but it's the guy that is one of the side quest guys, and he's the one that wants to preserve the history of the old village that used to be there in Western
Oh
Korthos.
yeah. The older guy.
And I thought it was so cool that after you um, he comes up with the renemy for the dragon poison whatever stuff. That the guy's like, yeah, we're gonna, why don't you stop in and tell your tales to us? And he's like, I don't like your cooking. He's like, well, the cook is from Korthos, and he's like, yep, I think I'll go there now. But yeah, it was my favorite NPC so far. Aerith, who's yours?
Really don't know. I kind of like my favorite so far is actually the last area you go to. It's the nodules. I think they're funny.
Oh, okay. Mine might change by then, but like I said, and Korthos, Western
I
Highlands.
like them because they remind me a lot of Star Wars, and I don't know. I just like them.
I guess my ultimate favorite remains to be seen then, huh?
Well, when you get to the end, you'll see the Star Wars reference.
Okay, I'm excited. Now I just want to binge even more. All right, what's next, ladies?
Don't know. Kasumi.
Sorry, sorry about that. I'm back.
No problem.
Um, we caught up on the story a little bit, and I understand, and hopefully we have a lot more to delve into next week, and we can make up some of the answers to some of the questions we have. At least I have. I know Aerith has already got those answers, and for the most part, and Dem, you have a lot more answers than I do. But hopefully, we
A
can get more into the
little
answers.
bit.
But let's switch gears here a little bit because this has been a hot topic in the community at the moment, and I've always been against these because I've seen the things that they did with the WoW community and what happened there. And I know this is a big build up for this, and this might be a little controversial too for some of us, and that's the use of DPS parsers. For those who don't know what a DPS parser is, it's a third person application that you have running simultaneously with the game client, and it not only checks your DPS, but checks of every DPS in your party members. And it will print out how everybody was doing, the highest DPS, the lowest DPS, and from my experience of it, and it's rather limited because in Lotro, the only DPS parsers we had was the ones that only checked yours and nobody else's because a lot of the community didn't like the fact that DPS, people who use DPS parsers were able to use that and then kick people out of parties because they were doing low DPS. What are you ladies? I guess.
I think it's fine if you want to use it for yourself, but I guess I mean, I'm on PS4, so something like a parser isn't really something that's easy for me to run at all. I don't think you can even have something like that on a console, and I guess
You
I
can't.
just
It's
really
pretty
don't
much.
care.
It's pretty much for for computers and everything, because that's where you're going to be able to
Yeah,
run it on. But I
I guess
know
if you want to do it for yourself, it's fine. But other than that, like,
I know in the past, like anybody who's talked about
characters.
it, that they've used it, were banned from SC, and it is kind of illegal by SC. They don't care if you use it, just you don't want to talk about it. And there's been a highly publicized case out there that Mr. Happy used. I don't know if he used it or not, but the rumor was that he was banned because of using a DPS parser. But like I said, it's computer only because you can't really do that on the console. But I just want to know just your thoughts on the whole DPS parser and using them.
Me
Point of it?
personally, I'm sorry, go ahead, Deb.
No, probably. No, my friend takes center stage. It's all good.
Um, I main DPS. It's what I like to do. Um, I feel if somebody wants to use that just to know where they're at, as a DPS, you're always wanting to be the best DPS. You want to be able to put out the most damage. Some people need to see numbers, need to know, you know, and by doing that, they know if they need to go change the rotation, look at what they're doing, fix it. I don't agree with them using that and then telling someone, okay, we're going to kick you because your DPS is X and it should be Y. You know, I don't agree with that because everybody has to learn a rotation no matter what DPS class you use to feel comfortable with. So I'm okay with them if you're using them for yourself to understand your rotation, to understand your output, and to feel okay with the output you're putting out. I'm not okay with it when you use it and then throw it at people's faces who are trying to learn, who are still learning, because you can be a level 50, 55, and especially now, everybody's relearning and kind of moving everything around to figure out how to fit things into a rotation that they've been using for a long time. So to sit there and say, "Oh, you're just not doing enough DPS right now, I have to kick you," is dumb.
Yeah,
Said it better myself.
go ahead.
I said about no, that's it. I don't have anything to add to that. I think that's perfect. You want to use it for personal use? Go right ahead. You want to improve your own personal gaming by using a parser? By all means. But don't use it to become an elitist and exclude somebody else because their DPS doesn't meet the requirements that you want to see.
I
Exactly.
I agree with all that. However, the common thing that I've seen for people that use it is that, well, you can get the same information if you use the battle log. Well, yeah, won't you use it and run the numbers yourself?
Exactly. Yeah. I honestly don't even look at the battle log, but um, I don't main DPS, and I try my best when I do DPS to have the most ideal rotation. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, still a game to me, and I don't feel that it's right or uh, okay to exclude somebody from a video game because they don't meet your standards. This is a game. You know?
You're right about that, but I've known in like other games, and it's not bad here.
It was
Um,
bad in World of Warcraft.
yeah, it was, and that's one of the reasons I don't like using parsers, and I don't like people using parsers. I've used it in Lord of the Rings Online. There was an add-on that you could do it, and I was doing it from my burglar because I was a DPS burglar at the time, but I was using it. The application was only just used for you. You can only see your DPS. You couldn't see anybody else's. And I thought that was the best way
That's
to do.
absolutely that's absolutely fine.
Oh yeah, it is. But Eric said, in other games, people use that and they just boot people out. If I know a person who had to switch to healing in the middle of it, because he was a DPS, I guess, when going in, he had to switch over to healer, and he got booted out of the party because his DPS dropped.
And see, that's not right. I stand by what I said. You want to use it for yourself and to check and make sure that you're meeting your own personal needs for a DPS check. You go right ahead. But don't bring something like that into the party as a whole.
Yeah, overall, I'm confident in my DPSing skills. And my gauge is always, I look at the threat generation. You almost always know where you stand when you do that. If I'm number 2 and the tank is number 1, that means I'm putting out more damage than all the other DPS. So I'm good. Even though technically the
Right.
healers, they
Yeah.
get up there in threat generation from healing or
Oh,
overhealing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Oh,
I
yes, they
I'm
do.
okay.
That's one thing I like about Astrologian. I got a nice little skill that I watch my cooldown for because it will just decrease my threat generation really good. And I'm like, okay, I try to
Yeah,
keep that
healer,
up.
White Mage has that as well. White Mage has Shroud of Saints, and it's definitely very useful.
Yep.
Fortunately, Scholar doesn't have anything like that unless it's something
Nope.
with Headboard, which I haven't got game with happened to yet.
I haven't gone into the Inside Rewards Scholar Soft either, so I wouldn't know. However, ladies, you know what? We've got an email. We've got an email.
Sweet.
Woohoo!
Um, Hello. My name is Lilith Tyrannus on the Fairy server. Hello. I was listening to your most recent podcast where you mentioned that you're looking for guests to have on the show. I would absolutely love to be a guest on your podcast because as a psychology major that struggles with social anxiety disorder and uses this game as a sort of therapy, I believe that we can have great discussions about the community and social aspects of this game. This is actually why I have grown to love your podcast and listen to every episode within a week. I do long distance running and podcasts make it so much more enjoyable. The discussions you all have about the social nature of this game truly make you stand out from all of the other Final Fantasy XIV podcasts out there. If you are interested in having me on the show, please let me know and thank you for your consideration.
Oh, can we please?
Well, hello, Lilith.
I would say thank you for taking the time to write us and explain this to us. And we do want to get some guests on the show. Like I said, we're gonna start with some major people, and hopefully within a month we can have them on. I know I've been looking at Ms. Tech has said that she would like to. That'll be all, folks. I was talking to him one day before our live broadcast last week, and just put down, I would love to do a crossover, and they're like, that's fine with us, whenever. And and then there's other people I would love to have on guests, like the Sequence Break podcast. I'd love to have on sometime. And we'd love to have guests on their show. However, the rest of this, I'm going to let them take over because she's more of the psychology major here. How do you feel like the fact that we actually, I know we do social nature on our podcast, but how does it make you feel that we're actually getting people that are psychology majors listening in just so they can get our takes on the social aspects of the game?
That please. Literally, I am like jumping up and down right now. It makes me so excited to hear that there's somebody else out there that looks at things and sees gaming and, dare I say, reality in the way that I do. I use this the same way, that gaming is a form of still socially connecting and bonding with others, because that is a basal human instinct that we have to be social and to be isolated and alone is an anomaly among the human race. And some of us, we have a hard time getting out in front of people, and this is something that's comfortable for us to meet that need. So it's interesting on a number of levels for me, both personally, just because I enjoy games, and then as a a psychologist and someone who's really into society and neurology and humanity, looking at how the gaming community functions and how it can enrich or harm someone is always extremely fascinating to me, and it always will be. So it's so cool to hear that there's somebody else out there that looks at this and sees it kind of the same way that I do, and I would absolutely love to hear more. Absolutely love to hear more.
Aerith, your thoughts?
I think that's pretty awesome. When you look at it and when you think about it, um, people for the longest time have tried to put labels on the people that play games. They imagine a person who's, in their mom's basement and, sitting there just having no life, when in reality, a lot of people that play these games are professionals. They have wonderful careers. They have families. They are parents. They are the kid next door. You know, there's a big variety of people. Some people do use it as escape. Others just use it it's just pure fun. And some people, that is the best, this is the reality they wish they were in. So there are a lot of different psychological levels of people who do play, and to hear somebody that other than them, who's this is their business, this is their profession, this is what they live and breathe, and they know and they understand it and they love hearing it, that we're able to touch the professional mind as well as the gaming mind. That's pretty cool.
I think it is
You're
too.
always so well spoken. You're always.
And
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
the one thing I do like about this, and and he even says it, in there, in the discussions we have about the social nature of this game, truly makes us stand out from other Final Fantasy 14 podcasts. I don't know if anybody else has listened to any other podcasts for Final Fantasy 14, but as somebody who does, we do get into the social aspect a lot more than any other podcasts. But it's weird, having that pointed out to us, like the fact that we're an all-female podcast too was kind of odd to be pointed out too. That oh, you're the only all-female, Final Fantasy 14 podcast out there. Now on top of it, we're the social nature ones too.
Go ahead.
We can do it all.
Oh yeah. Well, and I guess it's something that part of me, I live and breathe it. Looking at everything with a different eye is part of who I am. I have a lot of engineers in my family, and they see the world with physics and mathematics and engineering. That is how they relate to things. And for me, having been formally educated in psychology, sociology, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, that is how I view the world. I view it all based upon psychological and sociological theories, and it's something that permeates into every aspect of my life. So everything I do, even down to playing a video game, comes down to how we manage social interactions and how we fulfill our lives and make it meaningful. And I'll be the first to admit, you know what? There's a lot more things that I would rather sit down and say, okay, well, this is what I've accomplished, and this is what I've accomplished. And by the time I was 30, I was making such and such amount of money and blah, blah, blah. But to me, this is something that I find emotionally fulfilling, is sitting down, playing with my free company, hanging out with my friends, and playing my game. It's a way for people to meet goals. It's a way for people to fulfill their social need and to grow emotionally. And that is something that is so important and crucial to the human mind on many, many levels. And when people say that video games make you lazy, physically, maybe yes, but I know a lot of people that are still very physically active that still play video games, myself included. And there are a lot of studies out there that show how video games actually strengthen the neurological responses and bonds within your brain. And that, to me, I waited so long to hear and see something like that. So when I sit down and I play video games, I think about those kinds of things. This is something that's increasing my reaction time. It's teaching me to think critically about things. It's teaching hand-eye coordination, and to all the naysayers of people who say that video games make you lazy, we here are an example of people that don't. We have careers, we have families, we have college educations, we have beautiful homes, beautiful families, and we are beautiful people. We are smart, we are intelligent, and we are well spoken. I'd say that we are living, walking, and breathing examples of why video games are good for you. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Okay. Um, the one thing I do want to point out is, I don't think we started this. I know I didn't start it to just do the social aspects, but I think kind of grew with time that we actually started tackling this. I know one week there was a lot in the news, so we decided to do, a thing on harassment. And I think that's where the whole social aspect with us has grown from, is the fact that we tackled it in such a great way, in such a positive way, that it just continued to this very day that we've been doing this. And yes, I really do think it's actually a really good thing. So
Okay, I think so too. And I have a friend that I've been friends with for 10, 11 years now, who is actually, he studied criminal justice, and he had me read one of his papers for his bachelor's once, just to kind of, go through, proofread it, give him some ideas. And it was talking about cyberbullying. And it was a long time ago that I read this, years, God, 5, 6 years ago that he graduated. But something that's kind of stuck with me when when you think about the things that people do online. And so when we talk about harassment, to me, cyberbullying goes hand in hand with that. And I think about the paper that my friend wrote, and in that paper, he brought up a story of someone who took their own life because people that this person knew within their own, I guess you could say, in real life community, took to the internet to relentlessly and incessantly harass and hurt this person, and they just couldn't take it anymore. And I think it's really serious, and I think it's something that people need to take seriously, that online interactions, when it comes down to it, there's still real people behind those keys. And to me, it's important just to be kind and be forgiving, and even though you can't see who this person is, love them because they're human.
okay, we're gonna move away from this conversation a little bit. I'm sorry, but
So sorry.
no, that's okay. We're gonna come back and do this again, because I do think that there's a lot of things we didn't cover the first time we went through harassment. So I would like to do another podcast about that at some point. Um, Dem, I know you missed the first little bit of the show here, but did you get a chance to check out? Um, did you get a chance to check out our new Redbubble shop where we can get shirts and leggings and stuff yet?
I haven't had the chance to open it up because I was desperately trying to get in to get in and talk with you guys. But what I do have to say is that I can't wait to order something, because that logo that we have is badass, and I think it's really
Jay did a really good job about it, and I really do think that we should probably get him a T-shirt or something to do this.
totally.
So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do wanna thank Jay for doing that. Jay is a very close, very dear friend. I consider Jay more of my brother. I love him very dearly, and his little family and little E-Man. So I'm definitely gonna try to get something for him, and possibly for little Ethan also.
well, we do have
Oh,
children's clothing there too, so I made sure I check that box. So
Oh, absolutely. That's exciting. Hey, you know what? There's a lot of mom gamers out there. Just saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, so I mean, it's Redbubble. You just put in redbubble.com, search for Whispering Dawn. It should come up. If not, it's redbubble.com/people/Whispering Dawn. So I know it's long, but it's on. It's gonna be on our Twitter. I'm probably gonna post it weekly that we have this. Um, the same thing with our live broadcast, which before I go anywhere else, I do want to thank for anybody who's listening live and to everybody that actually listens on our podcast. Um, the reason I want to thank everybody and everything is because I don't know if the hosts know because haven't said any of this in any of our chat yet, and this is why in our chat earlier this weekend I said I'm proud of you all and that I love you. There's a reason for that. I checked our little statistics almost right before that. We have 3 podcasts now, 3 episodes that have over 100 listens now, and we're closing in on 1,000 listens total for the podcast.
Nice.
Wow.
Who would have tunk?
You know.
Our last non-live podcast is up to 109 at the moment, which I thought was amazing. And the one before that hit 100. And the one that's Monks Are Bringing the Sexy Back hit 100. So those are the ones that hit 100. And I really do want to thank our listeners out there. And there's another reason I want to thank the listeners. A week ago, I got a nice little thing in our Twitter. You've probably seen it, ladies. Person, decided to follow us, which I love and everything. I followed him back. I followed him or her back, and got a nice little message from them saying, "I love the podcast. I really thank you for following me back." And I'm like, no. There's a reason I follow back almost everybody. I stopped doing it a little bit because I found out some of the people we're following are not really listeners, but bots or whatever. So there's a reason I follow everybody back that I know are going to be active listeners, is because I really do appreciate you taking the time and, making it know that you're a fan of the podcast by, liking, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, subscribing to us on iTunes. And I know I went through this whole spiel at the beginning, but it's overwhelming when I see the numbers. And I'm not normally a numbers person, but when I see the numbers that we got over 100, when I first started this, I wasn't expecting to get hundreds until maybe after year 1 of us being on the air. So it's blowing me away, and just the fact that people are taking the time to send us emails saying, "We love this podcast. This is why." It really gets me, and it makes me feel really good inside that I'm actually doing something good for this community. And I feel overwhelmed by it sometimes. Like, okay, now I'm not doing enough for this podcast. What can I do more? And that's when I get on these ladies. Come on, ladies, we got to do more. We got all these fans out there that are listening to us. Let's, and I start pushing them a little bit more. And sometimes I do feel bossy, so I do apologize for that, ladies. But
You're a little bossy, but it's okay.
but
Sometimes I need it. So.
but this is the reason right here. Is for people that are saying, thank you for following me. I love your podcast. For people who are, pushing our podcast over 100 views. Like I said, we're closing into 1,000 listens. Something that I didn't think was going to be possible within 2 months of us being on air. We're closing in. This is our 11th podcast. We're closing into 2 months. a podcast here. Well, a little bit more because we have a few that didn't get to be made into, official iTunes podcasts, which you can find on our YouTube channel, youtube.com Whispering Dawn. But it really makes me overwhelmed, and I just want to push these girls a little harder, being like, okay, come on, we got fans out there that's counting on us now. Let's do this. On Tuesdays, I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of a video game. Every Tuesday, I'm going to spend 2 hours on the game and then go into a different game after I, beat that one. I really do hope that a lot of the hosts will jump onto our Twitch stream and start streaming as well, so their fans can get out there and actually interact with us more. Because if it wasn't for them, we would not be in the position we are in right now. I would never thought 2 months ago, when getting a new logo, to put it into a clothing line. And
That's amazing. It really is. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Aerith?
Thank you.
I think it's awesome. I'm really glad that people are enjoying what we say, and I do want to thank all of the listeners from every platform, every way that you guys have tried to reach out. And I when I entered this with the hopes that of being a voice for not just the female gaming community, but just the community in general, the positive side of it. We deal with enough of the negative side of it and backlash from people who don't understand um, the love of playing the game. Um, so it's pretty cool that people like it. I always encourage listeners, tell us whatever's on your mind. Whether you like something I said, don't like it, it doesn't matter. Speak your mind. It's always an open forum for that. But at the end of the day, I'm really appreciative for all the girls and all the work and how all these beautiful minds are able to come together. And you know we're all from completely different backgrounds, completely different states, completely different everything, and we truly get along. And I think our listeners can tell, and they get that. They get the sense of the harmony that we can bring.
Thank you. Agreed.
The one thing I
Like I said, you're always well spoken. 100.
Thank you very much.
the one thing I will say, and hopefully he's actually listened, and that's Escalia from LBR. I don't know if he did it to you, y'all's Skype thing, but he sent out Skype messages to people, and basically thanking us for being on here, and talking to him over Skype, because I do talk to him over Skype. I do talk to him when he's streaming, and he actually does enjoy what we do. And coming from somebody that's coming from a bigger podcast, that means a lot.
Yeah, it
And
does.
it, I am very, that's why I said I'm very thankful for the community. I can sell 0 shirts and still be fine with how everything's come down so far,
Totally.
because this has been, beyond my wildest dreams.
This
And
is something I've always wanted to try, and didn't really know how to venture out and do this. Didn't really want to do it on my own. So when I saw your post and answered to it, I was extremely nervous because in general, and I think each and every one of you will agree, you mostly can't get a group of females together and get along.
I have a hard time getting along with anybody. You can't tell that?
I mean, but then when you mix females together, females tend to bicker a lot, and I think in general, females in the gaming community aren't quite like that. We're more towards the mellow side, like most guys. We have our bitchy catty moments, but Overall, we tend to see the bigger picture of things. And all of us have a true love for the podcast and a true love for the game, and for the community itself. We don't mind talking about the harder topics, or we don't mind talking about the touchy topics. And we don't mind talking about the fun stuff. And we have absolutely no problem saying, yeah, I don't know, or I do know. um, I think all of our listeners relate. I do want to thank all those other podcasts when they listen to us, and they're giving us feedback. They're critiquing us in a very positive manner. They're not trying to bash us as an up and coming. They're trying to help us get to their level, and they're teaching us something every single time they give us advice. So I do wholeheartedly appreciate that.
Yeah, Escalia, I know he wasn't listening into this one, but he did listen into, our first one, and he gave us a lot of feedback and stuff like that. And a lot of it I agreed with. Like, I'm like, oh, I didn't catch this. But, last week was a special thing because we weren't normally recording as we normally do, which is why we don't have an episode on iTunes last week. Thanks to Nell, she might be able to save it and we might be able to get it up, but, you know, feedback because, some of the stuff that was happening was because of our circumstances last week, and I wish I would have had a better first show than what we did, but we learned a lot, and he gave us a lot of feedback, and one of the things he said was, even at the beginning, and I know we have a problem with this at the beginning, because I don't know why we do, but as the show goes on, we get more and more flowing. It's just the beginning we have that, I don't know what it is, but he says that we're getting more and more comfortable with each other, and as we do that, we're going to get more and more relaxed, and we're going to be able to gel a lot more, and we're going to have that chemistry with each other.
Especially when you transfer over to my server.
Yeah, and I don't know when that's going to be, but I don't know when that's going to be, but it will. It's probably going to happen because, as much as I love Sargentanis, I'm getting to the point where I can't run anything with anybody because I don't have that many friends. Yes, I have link shells that I talk to, and I do have friends that I've made, and I got real life friends, but usually they're not on when I'm on, or they're doing their own thing and they can't help me. And I do appreciate all the help that I've gotten so far, and but it's becoming clear to me that it's almost time for me to leave the server. And I hate
You
to
know what?
say that.
Do what makes you happy. And you know what? I would
Yeah.
love to switch over and play with you guys, but I have such a tight knit group that I couldn't do it. But I encourage you to go wherever you're going to be happy because it's the whole point of a video game, right? Is for fun. And if you're not, and in an MMO, it's a community. And if you're not getting that experience out of it,
It is. I
you're wild.
absolutely love the community I have um, over on Goblin. We have our asshats like every single server does,
Oh
but
yeah.
we have a lot of people who are willing to help. Um, and I already knew that, but I think I felt it 10 times more when I started doing my pony farming. And, people that got their ponies were, when they saw me put a party finder up, they would join and be like, that's one less pony. You can get it, and my free company itself, I've said it before, it's made up of, real life friends and my husband. We all live in different states now. This is the only way that we're able to do something together. And we're on at different points. It's rare when we're all on at the same time, and we get a kick out of it when we do. But we don't let the other people that are in the free company feel excluded from our conversations. We include them in everything, and not all of them know the full. They know we're friends in real life, but they don't know just how long we've been friends and how many different games we've played together. Um, so I do love my community. I myself, I know I couldn't go to another server because Jay would kill me. He, just Jay alone would kill me, and my husband's happy here. I do wish we could all be on one. I wish they would like merge our servers and put us all on one.
Where you go. There's a solution to all our problems.
Oh, that was logged out. Like I just go over to our Twitch channel to see if there's anybody commenting or anything, and all of a sudden I see like the opening movie like playing, and I'm like, wait a minute, here, this is not where I left it.
Yeah, you gotta move your character every now and then.
Yep,
It
yep.
will
No
kick
more
you.
idling.
That sucks. As a mom, you sit there and you try to get away to do something real quick, and now you have that pressure in the back of your mind to go and move your character.
Oh, I will tell you something, but I can't. I can't right now. But I will tell you something. I
Okay.
Okay, I just seen the name of this fate, and I gotta share it because this is actually pretty funny because I didn't notice this before. Pico de Galos.
Yeah, Pico de Gallo. They got quite a few funny ones. I can't
Yep.
remember the names of all of them, but every single new world you go to, pay attention to the names of the fates. They are hilarious. Some of them
Uh-huh.
are just over the top, and you will get it as soon as you see it.
Like the
Um,
spike butt guy?
yeah, oh, the first one you run into is Spike Butt. Me and my
Yeah.
husband, when we logged in and we were like, "What's Spike? Are you serious?" And we were like, "That is funny," because he was yelling, "Will somebody come help me with my Spike Butt?"
Yeah. Like this is so weird. It's still weird.
But like I said, I do love the ladies that I'm here with, and sometimes they make me mad, and sometimes, but
Alright.
that's family. That's family. You're gonna have that, and I think that's what we're becoming more and more. And I do love it. When I log on to our Twitter and I see somebody used our Twitch channel to stream, it makes me happy that you ladies are using the tools that I'm putting so hard to put out there for you to use, and using it.
Yeah, I suck at that. I'll turn around and I'm like, "Can somebody do the slash host?"
Yeah, I mean, we don't I don't mind doing it. Nor Sierra, I don't think minds doing it a lot. If we can get in there and do it, that's how we're gonna do it. And I know when I set up my Twitch for my PS4, it's gonna go right to ours, because my personal one I'm not even using anymore because I'm trying to concentrate on us right now, because I really do like where we're at, and how we're improving every week. And I do thank our fans. Like I said, we have 3 podcasts now, over 100 views, listens. That's not 10,000 that some people are getting, but for a podcast that just came out of nowhere like us, that's really good.
We're a baby, don't
Eh,
worry. Soon we'll be invited to all the cool things.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's also awesome that I can when I say put on Twitter, hey, how do I get a hold of these people to become guests, and they respond, be like, yeah, we would love to be able to be a guest on there, but right now we're going to concentrate on this. It makes me feel special that okay, these people. And that's one thing I like about the Final Fantasy 14 creative community, is everybody does help each other out.
I'm actually excited to be able to have the possibility of having Ms. Tech on the show one day. I've watched everything Ms. Tech does. I do watch her live stream sometimes. Um, she's at a level that I'm trying to get to. So I really, really am looking forward to that.
I think for the most part we all are. It's nice to learn from
Oh
some of
yeah.
these, from a lot of these other people. And the one thing I will say to our anybody who's listening to this podcast, please follow our Twitter. Let us know. Communicate with us. Email us at, and I'm going to go through the whole spiel again, most likely. TheWhisperingDawn@gmail.com. Email us. Let us know. What we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. What you agree with, what you don't agree. Have some discussion, because the only way we can get better, and the only way we can, have you guys feel like you're part of the podcast. And that's what we want to do. Want to make you feel like you're part of our podcast. And
But you are part of our podcast, you know? I mean, if it's not for listeners, then what's the point of doing it, you know?
yeah, that's true. And but email us. Um, Follow us on Twitter. Do whatever you need to get a hold of us. We got a YouTube channel. Go follow us on there. Follow us on Facebook. At some point we'll put up a homepage somewhere, and we'll have all this stuff listed. But until then, we're doing what we can do. But without the fans, and I can't stress this enough, without the listeners and our fans and everybody, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. And it does overwhelm me a lot of times just to get the emails that we get, and the tweets we get sometimes. And there's a couple that I'm gonna say right now that made me cry. And it's not tears of sadness, it's tears of joy, that were affecting people, and that people actually want us to continue to do this. And sometimes when I'm at my lowest and I'm about to like throw up my hands and be like, "Erg, I can't do this anymore," it's when I get those tweets and I'm like, this is why I do it. So I do thank everybody out there for doing that, and it's a time for us to actually say goodbye. So I'm gonna say my goodbyes like always, and then everybody else is gonna follow. Like I've always said, this podcast does not belong just to me, even though I was one of the original founders. It belongs to these other lovely ladies as well, and it belongs to the fans. Without all three components, me, the ladies, and the fans, there would be no podcast. There wouldn't. I couldn't do this by myself. And I'm lucky enough to have ladies that are able to do this. And before I even say my goodbye here, my heart does go out to Sierra right now, who's dealing with her grandfather. I've had that happen, and my heart does go out. So,
In my thoughts,
yes.
definitely. Been there. I know that, I mean, you never really know exactly what it feels like, but I understand.
Yeah, my thoughts and my prayers go with her and her entire family, because that is anything relating to grandparents, parents, or any kind of loved one of any shape or form. It's tough. That's a hurt that never goes away, and I hope, you know, she knows that our thoughts are all with her.
Um, I hope she does, because it is. And without her, that one day when we were reading the patch notes for 3.0, and we were 3 hours into it, and we're being silly with each other. That's what I like. And I, I hate to see anybody sad, especially a co-host. And I'm just lucky that we have the people that we do. So I'm gonna say my goodbyes. So um, the only thing I will say is please go to our new clothing store, and I'll be pushing this hard because I really want it to succeed. And yes, we're going to have a black color version of the logo up there probably tomorrow. But until then, we got our regular logo. You can get it in clothes, you can get it in leggings, which I find amazing. I might actually get the leggings for
Oh, I'm
myself.
gonna order the leggings. I'm gonna order the leggings. I love leggings. I wear them to the gym all the time.
But like I said, it's redbubble.com/people/Whispering Dawn. There has to be a simpler way of doing that. I'll have to find it. But I do thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to us live or through iTunes. And I will talk to everybody next week. Bye.
Uh, I want to thank all the listeners. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us. I appreciate any of your comments or any questions you have. Um, Once again, out to Sierra, my heart's with you, my mind is with you, and so are my prayers. Um, Thanks to my other co hosts. Thanks for coming and making it fun to always revisit what I've gone through and where we're at right now. And until next week, stay safe.
Well, thanks everybody for listening, and thanks always to my fellow co-hosts for everything that you do, because you guys are amazing.